Hello class, welcome. We are taking a little detour into the house of pain. All right, what are we talking about with the house of pain? It's not this house of pain, it's this: immediate pain from fatigue, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, and cramps. Talking about these three. Immediate pain from fatigue. What does that do to? A drop in pH. That happens when you are just cranking away. A lot of other metabolites, including lactic acid, build up around those muscles. That messes around with the nerve endings and you start to feel pain. Interestingly, fatigue has a lot of layers to it and depth. When you are cranking away and you are running out of energy, ATP decreases, myosin heads can't move, the calcium handling gets all messed up, the signaling gets, well, screwed up, and contraction becomes difficult. Your legs feel like lead. That feels painful as well. Glycogen depletion, another feeling of fatigue / pain. And the really cool thing, which we don't have time to get into now, but it's called the central governor theory. Noakes did a whole piece on this that you can review if you want to. Basically, your brain is making sure, is this getting dangerous? Are we going to make it through? Yes or no? And if it's a no, then your body sends signals to say, that's it. We are decreasing our neural drive, and you're just going to fatigue out and have pain in your legs and arms or whatever muscle you're using. And, well, there you go. That's the end of exercise. DOMS. This is exercise that you're not used to or you've been away from doing for a while. We actually still don't know all there is to know about DOMS, but what we do know, it's likely micro tears. We know that creatine kinase, troponin, and myoglobin get released or are found in the bloodstream, and that happens when we get DOMS. There's likely a lot of surrounding connective tissue issues going on. Probably some osmotic pressure increases from all this fluid and edema, inflammation related to that in the muscle, and again, the surrounding connective tissue. All of these things are likely contributing to pain. Calcium gets dysregulated, and very likely all of the above. But interestingly, we don't know exactly what happens with DOMS. What we do know is that eccentric or eccentric, to be the purist there, causes a lot more DOMS than concentric exercise in studies. That is well known. What is very painful is when we start talking about eccentric exercise, right? People sometimes think, oh, that's the lactic acid, right? Oh, my lactic acid built up from all that exercise I did yesterday. Well, guess what? Your lactic acid disappears within an hour or so from exercise. It's not from lactate. If you wanted to do an example, think of running uphill. It's pretty much all concentric. You are shortening the muscles. Think of your quadriceps shortening as you're extending your legs going uphill. Very high levels of lactate, really hard exercise. You don't get sore the next day. The classic example in the gym is the prowler sled. If you've ever done that, it's exhausting, but you're actually not sore in your quads the next day because it's all concentric. Cycling is another one. This is a really neat design. If I've never tried it, but I got it as soon as I was kind of reviewing this. Like, wow, this is fascinating. If person A here has stronger quads and they are able to push down harder and move those pedals forward, and if it's attached to this bike just the right way, if this person B's quads are not as strong, their pedal is going to get pushed upwards and their quads are going to lengthen forcibly, not on their own volition, and their muscles are going to get stretched apart. That's eccentric or eccentric exercise. They are not going to be sore the next day. They are going to be really sore. Downhill running, it's all eccentric or eccentric. Those quads are being forcibly lengthened. You're putting on the brakes so you don't collapse going down that hill. You can walk down this hill, have barely any lactate bump in your blood, but be wickedly sore. Just think about this. Your quads are trying to prevent you from going all the way down. These are, well, think of it as like a spring, and you're just stretching and pulling that metal spring, creaking and tearing that metal. That's what's happening to your quads. And the last one is cramps. So also largely unknown. What we do know, there's a lot of fatigue going on, right? We're cranking away for hours and hours, and we get some misfiring, and the muscles just cramp up. Dehydration is commonly discussed and theorized. Yes. Muscle strain, possibly, with some focal cramping going on. That could be a possibility. Another thing very commonly, mineral depletion. Note, sodium is not on this list. It's usually the other ones that, again, are theorized. Medical conditions, certainly they can cause cramps. Not really relevant in exercise physiology here, but I'm listing it for completeness. The strongest evidence is got to be number one, the neuromuscular fatigue. What is happening is there's a mismatch between your muscle spindles and your Golgi tendon organs, or GTO, and that results in a cramp. Interestingly, probably it's actually a triad here of fatigue, dehydration, and mineral depletion. But if you think about it, it can't just be dehydration or mineral depletion, because those things are happening systemically through the body, but only the exercising muscles are cramping up, not the non-working muscles. So it is probably a combination of all these.